Hey guys, and welcome to Automation Theory. I'm your host, Brady Napier. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about remote controls and how they can make your life easier when you buy an advanced PC programmable remote from a company like Universal Remote Control. When TVs first came out, they were relatively simple to use. Most people would have some sort of CRT television or tube television as they were better known, and in order to use that television, they would simply have one remote, they would turn on the power, and they would change the channels. One remote. That's how it all started. And then things, of course, got a lot more difficult. You see, this little thing called HDTV came around, where all of your different devices needed to be hooked up separately. You'd have a cable box, a DVD player, and something like an Apple TV. Each one would plug into the television into a different input separately, and would require multiple remotes, one for each device, and of course the TV. In this situation, we would have 4 remote controls, all needing to be used independently to make your system work. Basic universal remote controls came out, but they were quite confusing. You'd have to press 5, 6, maybe 7 buttons just to get everything to work correctly. And then they went one step further. That's when surround sound systems began to come out. So let's set up the same system that we had before. We'll get our HDTV, we'll get all of our sources, our cable box, our DVD player, and our Apple TV in this situation. But this time we're going to add an audio-video receiver. An audio-video receiver makes things just a little bit more complex. You add a sound system, and you add quite a few different connections depending on how the installer decides to install the system. There can be quite a few of them. In this situation, we add a couple more remotes, and those remotes are, of course, the most confusing of all of the remotes. And things just get a little bit more hectic. Setting up your system turns into a process only someone with intimate knowledge of how all of these devices work together can really set up. It's been one of the biggest problems in our industry, as a lot of people buy these systems and they don't use it very often, or only the one person in the family can set it up, and if that person's not home, you kind of leave it alone and you're scared of the system. Now, when you spend a couple $1,000s on your home theater system, that's just no bueno. So let's take a look at a solution that Universal Remote Control makes that will allow your system to be usable by anybody. And when I do say anybody, I very much mean anybody. So let's go back to our system that has the surround sound speakers hooked up to it. This time we're going to use an MX-980 remote control designed by Universal Remote. This is a PC programmable remote that does need to be programmed by a professional programmer. Programmers are available in every city and are not difficult to find. When you find the right programmer, your programmer will have an intimate knowledge of the way your system works, the way all of the components work together, and the best way to achieve the results you're looking to get with your system. So this is what a screen might look like. You'll see watch cable TV, watch a Blu-ray or DVD, and use your Apple TV. Press one of these devices. For example, I press watch cable TV, and it will start to go through a list of macros designed by the programmer to set up your system. In this case, it'll turn on my TV, turn on my cable box, turn on my receiver, set the various TV inputs and receiver inputs, and then go to the optimum sound mode so that the TV sounds as good as it can through my sound system. Now, the remote is going to change into a cable TV remote. The channel will change the channel, the volume will change the volume for the sound system, and all of the various buttons that you would normally see on your cable box are going to show up right there. If there's not a hard button for them on the bottom of the remote, the screen will actually house various pages of extra commands, such as DVR, or Live TV, or 30-second skip forward. Now let's go back to the main page. When we press Watch a Blu-ray or DVD, it'll start to go through a different set of commands to set up our Blu-ray player. Turning on the TV, the Blu-ray, the receiver, changing inputs, switching the optimum sound mode, and then pressing play on the DVD player. When we get to the DVD page, you'll see that the menu is custom tailored for the DVD, and all the hard buttons are now working the DVD player as they should. When we go back one more time and press Watch Apple TV, it'll turn on our TV, wake up our Apple TV, turn on the receiver, set the inputs, and set the sound mode. Apple TV doesn't have as many buttons, but as you can see, we can put a nice set of instructions on there showing you that in order to navigate the Apple TV, just use the navigation button, the menu button, and the back button, and those are what will work. Now in this example, we see lighting. Lighting control is very available with the MX-980 with an extra module as well. We can control the various lights in your room, whether they be in your ceiling or simple lamps, depending on what you're looking at doing. And this really is just the tip of the iceberg of what's possible with the MX-980 remote. Another thing to keep in mind is that the MX-980 remote control is an IR learning remote control. What this means is that any device that you have that has an IR remote with it can be controlled perfectly by the MX-980 remote. All you have to do is learn it into the remote, and then we have all of the commands that were originally available right there in front of us. Another great thing is I can make the remote as advanced or as basic as I need it to be based on your wants and your needs. And so there you have it, guys. That's the MX-980 remote. And the description of how this remote works holds true for most of the remotes in the system that URC makes, such as the MX-450, the 880, the 5000, the 6000, and the KP 4000. There's a few others in there as well, but I could go on all day. So that's basically a summary of how Universal Remote Control's professional line will work and how perfectly we can make them work for your needs.